Daddy, can we help her? Those words from his 7-year-old daughter, Emily, cut through the cold night air like a knife. James Carter, a single dad and decorated Army veteran, had just parked his old pickup outside a small grocery store when he saw her, a woman struggling, terrified, 3 men cornering her near the alley. For a split second, James wanted to just drive away, stay out of trouble. He had seen enough violence in his life. But then he looked at his daughters, Emily and Sophie, their eyes wide, innocent, watching the world to learn what's right and what's wrong. He sighed deeply, reached for the door handle, and muttered, "Stay in the truck. Lock the doors." The moment his boots hit the pavement, something in him switched. That old training, the calm focus of a soldier who's faced darker nights than this. The 3 men turned toward him, laughing at first, until one noticed the way James moved, measured, confident, dangerous. "Walk away," James warned softly. They didn't. In under a minute, it was over. One attacker limped away groaning, another lay gasping for breath, and the last one stumbled off swearing never to return. James helped the trembling woman to her feet. She was bruised, shaken, but safe. "You're okay now," he said quietly, handing her his jacket. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes, whispering a shaky thank you before disappearing into the night. James didn't even get her name. That night, after tucking his girls into bed, James sat alone at the kitchen table, staring at the bills piled high, overdue notices, rent warnings, car repairs he couldn't afford. His life was a quiet struggle, paycheck to paycheck, ever since leaving the military. He'd lost his wife to cancer 3 years ago, and every day was about surviving for the girls. He never expected anything back from the world. But fate had other plans. The next morning, a loud rumble outside woke him. When he looked out the window, his jaw nearly dropped. 3 black Rolls-Royce Phantoms parked outside his worn-down home, gleaming like they'd come from another world. Neighbors peeked from their windows in disbelief. A tall man in a suit stepped out, holding an envelope. "Mr. Carter?" he asked politely. James nodded warily. The man smiled. "My employer sends her gratitude. You saved her life last night. She wanted to make sure you never struggle again." James blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" The man handed him the envelope. Inside was a letter and 3 keys, each with a Rolls-Royce emblem, and a check with more zeros than James had ever seen in his life. His hands shook. He tried to speak, but words failed him. The letter read, "You didn't just save me. You reminded me that there is still goodness left in this world. These gifts are just a start. Use them for your daughters, for the life you deserve." Tears welled in his eyes as he looked over at Emily and Sophie standing in the doorway, their sleepy faces lighting up with curiosity. "Daddy, what's happening?" Sophie asked. James knelt down and hugged them both tightly. "Sometimes, sweetheart," he whispered, voice trembling, "when you do the right thing, even when no one's watching, life finds a way to thank you." That day changed everything. James sold 2 of the cars and used the money to buy a new home in a safer neighborhood. He reopened the old diner he and his wife once dreamed of running together, hiring veterans who were struggling to find work. The 3rd Rolls-Royce he kept, not to show off, but to remind him where kindness could lead. Months later, that same woman, now fully recovered and radiant with life, walked into his diner. She introduced herself as Victoria Lane, CEO of one of the largest companies in the city. She smiled warmly. "You saved
my life, Mr. Carter. Now let me help you save others." From that day forward, they worked together on a foundation supporting single parents and veterans. Every time James told the story, he would end it the same way, looking straight into the camera for the veterans, single parents, and struggling souls watching his story unfold. "You don't have to be rich to change a life," he'd say. "Sometimes all it takes is the courage to stop when everyone else looks away." And as the screen fades to black, his voice lingers, deep, sincere, and full of quiet strength.